That's my guess.
Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's some serious. Where my girls at? We link up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right.
Appear on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media.
Where my girls at? Where my girls at?
Ooh, I'm ready. Where my girls at? Oh my goodness, it is going down. It is going down. It is going down. I am back 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. Get excited. I want to be sure that I want the radio audience to know that you are listening to We Got Issues, 910 AM, WFDF, the Superstation. And I am super excited. I am Caterina Harris Earl. I'm coming to you from today, sunny California. And we have perfect attendance for the day. Oh my gosh, that's a round of applause right there. Perfect attendance for the day. Honestly, when my girlfriends are not all here, like we have the audacity to miss each other. Isn't that kind of crazy? Isn't that kind of crazy? We are the force of friendship. But honestly, this is friends that are like family. So we are so glad to see Sabrina Goodwin Monday, who wasn't feeling well yesterday. And today you're looking like a million. So we know you are back. We are excited. Gloria ease right on in here. We are excited that she is on the radio and social media. And here we go again, our girlfriend, Lady Crisette Ellis. I mean, you have to follow every one of us on social media at Caterina Harris Earl, at Sabrina Monday, at Lady Crisette, at Gloria Banks. You have got to follow us because our social media in and of itself is a party. Okay, we got issues, but on social media, it's on fleek. You would think we ain't got an issue in the world. Okay? So this week we talked about bah humbug. We talked about how to draw the line. And today we are talking about creating your seat at the table. When I tell you, our tribe is growing and it is just amazing. You're listening in every day and you are learning something every day. Dr. Ashley Little, we will bring her in just a moment. And when I tell you, this chick right here, her resume is like hot. Okay, we are so excited. She's a TEDx speaker and been on NBC, Fox, CBS. We are going to talk to her today. So lean in, don't touch that dial. But of course, we have got to hear from the girlfriends. Okay, I am not bah humbug. I am all ho ho ho, but I think I'm the least festive person in the background. Okay, I think I'm the least festive person in the background because my new office furniture is coming. I got to get this furniture out of here. Somebody buy my office furniture so I can make room for the new. So it is totally bare. But OMG, OMG, I'm excited to hear from. Let's go to Sabrina Goodwin Monday today. How are you, Sabrina? What is happening? What's happening?
I'm good. A little nasally. I'm telling you, I had a cold that just put me out yesterday. Couldn't even raise my head off the pillow. It was so much congested, but I'm so much better today. So I'm glad that the girlfriends are good. You're looking swell. We are thankful. This is Thankful Thursday. This week has flown by. I mean, flown by. And so we are in the middle of December, dashing through the snow. In Ohio, we are dashing through the snow, literally. And so it's all good. Lots going on in the news. Tis the season. Girlfriends, we have perfect attendance today. So welcome back, everybody. Yes. Crisette, you're looking fabulous. Happy holidays. What's going on in the D?
Hey, everybody. It is a wonderful, beautiful day in the D, of course. Sabrina, And I'm sure it gets cold in Maryland as well. Maybe not as cold as Detroit and Geneva on the Lake Ohio, but it's chilly here, but it's okay. We're ready for the weather, ready for the weather. You guys, I didn't see a whole lot of television on today, a lot of news, but what I did hear just a little bit of is the social media part. Instagram's head, Adam Mosseri, testified during a Senate subcommittee hearing on yesterday about the platform's potentially harmful impact on younger users. And I mean, that is a show in and of itself, because as adults feel the need to keep up with the Joneses on the platform. Everybody is trying to put forth their best foot forward, their best look. Everybody got the apps, including me. Get rid of this wrinkle, get rid of that, get rid of that. And before you know it, it's like, I just saw her yesterday. That is not how she looks, right? Look, all of these girls,
guilty as charged, okay?
Exactly. Every single one of these girls know the true Crisette. We have all slept in the room together, slept in the bed together, woke up
I don't like
together.
no wrinkles. I don't like wrinkles live. I don't like wrinkles on the Facebook. I don't like wrinkles, so I know how to swipe them away.
What you say? No wrinkles, no wrinkles. I think one time Sabrina woke up and said, "Who are you? I don't know you."
No, Chris, you remember when you had us in the room with the tape? She said we could do our own. She showed us how to tape our necks back. Okay.
Oh my goodness. It was the cheap plastic surgery. But anyway, we know that it's a lot of pressure. And if you're not mature enough to handle the pressure, it can cause depression, it can cause anxiety, it can cause so much for our young people. And I think because of the era which we grew up in, I mean, I've posted many times exercising, no makeup. So we totally understand that everything you see is not 100% of what you see. But sometimes these young people, especially young girls, they don't have that maturity and they don't understand. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with to try to alleviate, the body shaming and how these young girls, and I'm sure there's some young boys, how they feel about themselves. So that's definitely a show of something we definitely need to keep our eye on. I'm going to throw it over to our girl, Gloria Mayfield Banks. Hey, Gloria, I missed you guys on yesterday. Okay.
I'm excited to be here. Look, I know everybody can't see us on the radio, but for those of you following us on the social media, I had to go and put on some red lipstick. Everybody looks so kissable up in here. I said, let me not go with the natural look. Let me go put some red in. I'm excited to be here with the perfect attendance. There's so much going on, Sabrina. You are right. This week is going fast. I cannot believe it's Thirsty Thursday. It is Thirsty Thursday. That's so crazy. Then, Chris, I promise you, there's no way for them people not to be struggling when the fact is you see a picture at 6 o'clock and at 7 o'clock, they look totally different. Change the hair color, change the lashes, suck the stomach in. I know how to do it all on social media. I'm not going to tell too many people, but I swear I done figured it all out. I remember when you were like, when Chris showed us for the first time that we could add lashes, we were like, oh my goodness, it is on and popping right here. But the girlfriends, y'all, talk about we got issues. Yesterday, Caterina pulled it together when we were all a hot mess. I mean, talk about girlfriends getting your back. I'm like, Caterina, I'm on the road. I said to her, I called her, I said, and then there was one. I
was like, oh. I was singing just the two of us, and then the song changed. Okay, that LP and put another record on. But Gloria talked about Nemacolin, y'all. I mean, that's a whole other show, but we are taking this girlfriend's trip, and that resort, your butler named Pete, I still remember his name. I know you still looking for Pete around the corner because he is not in your house, you said.
Girl, I was up here trying to regroup my luggage because tomorrow morning I leave early in the morning for Houston. So it is back on the road again, back out in the streets, trying to be very, very careful, trying to be very vigilant, listening to the news, watching the numbers. It's interesting. We're managing it all. We are managing it all. But I will say, my message today is we cannot complain because people are dealing with a lot. They are dealing with so
For
much
sure.
stuff, you
For
guys.
sure.
So much stuff. And maybe because we're in home and we can hear so much more of it. I don't know. But it's a lot. So we're glad to bring y'all some joy on We Got Issues. We're glad to give you some messages on We Got Issues. And we're glad to be some girlfriends here on We Got Issues. Katrina, what's happening with the show today?
Yes, yes, yes. We are talking about something that we have that we're familiar with, because you know what, we have created our seat at the table, and now we are excited about creating our seat at this table and the next table. And so I'm going to bring my guest in, who is an expert. Dr. Ashley Little is the CEO founder of Ashley Little Enterprises LLC. Welcome to the show. And y'all, this encompasses media work, consulting, writing, ghostwriting, book publishing, book coaching, project management. She is a senior executive in corporate and a serial entrepreneur, TV radio show host, TEDx speaker. Okay, that's an accolade I'm hoping to get.
Right.
15-time award-winning best-selling author, as seen on Black Enterprise not once but twice. Fox Soul TV. I love me some Fox Soul. NBC, Fox, CBS, Heart and Soul, my favorite station in the on Xfinity. Is that what it, no, whatever it is, XM Radio. New York Weekly, top 10 hardest working CEOs alongside billionaire Mark Cuban. U.S. Insider's top 10 women entrepreneurs alongside billionaire and media mogul Oprah Winfrey. You know, it's so many things, but I'm highlighting the ones that everybody wants to hear on the radio. Listen to this: the Forbes Next 1000 class of 2021 in partnership with Square. That's a good stock to invest in. Nashville's Black 40 Under 40 Awards, that's taking place in December 2021. And a member of Delta Sigma Theta. It goes on and on. I just want to say that you want her to be your soror, okay? She is the founder and owner of Talk Radio TV Network LLC that airs in 167 countries. And I was blessed to be on her radio show last night. Lastly, we got to put in the education. Undergraduate degree in English, Sabrina from North Carolina A&T State University. Master's degree in industrial organizational psychology. Tell us what that is, okay? And a doctorate in humanitarian leadership. I love that, okay? Strong faith, determination. Let's just say your seat is secure at the table. Let's give it up, y'all, for our guest today, Dr. Ashley Little. Woo-hoo!
Yes, that's big.
Welcome to the table. And so we just want you to come on in and brag on yourself. Tell us about, like, who are you? How do you, like, how have you done so much in such a short period of time? 40 under 40. How have you created this amazing life for yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I'm excited to be with you, amazing, legendary women, okay? To be in the room. Dr. Baines, Crisette, Sabrina, Katrina, I'm just excited to be here. And so basically, just working, doing the work. I also invest in, mentors and coaches who are 30 steps ahead of me, who are where I want to be. And so that has really helped me cut the learning curve and be able to put the work in to do the things that I've done, and just making sure that I'm building those relationships. And I can't say that enough.
Awesome. Well, we have about 3 minutes before we take our first break. Take us back to, maybe as you were growing up, did you just come out of the womb like this? Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Tell us a little bit about how it was growing up that led you to this just amazing life right now.
Yeah, so I come from a family. My mother's a retired corporate attorney, and my father is an entrepreneur. So I had pretty much the best of both worlds with that. And so I was always very involved, throughout my childhood, whether it was acting or whether it was, being involved in tutoring and great stuff. And I also did entrepreneurship as I was growing up. I had my own tutoring company. And so I was always that very involved, energetic kid that loved to be involved, work with other people, create things. And so how I just had a blessed to have a family that wanted me to keep me and my sister and brother involved to the things that we're doing now. So.
I love it. Yeah. We are excited to learn more about you. When you say because I know you're, of all these accolades, what I know most, because I was introduced to you from my soror, Colette, through your magazine, Creating a Seat at the Table. Talk to us about what does that mean to you? Because we're going to talk more about it as we come back from break. What does it mean to create your seat at the table?
Absolutely. Your own, right? You creating your own table, not waiting for anybody to give you a seat. And so I created the Creating Your Seat at the Table platform. It started out with the show, and then it extended from the show to the magazine for that growing entrepreneur to have access to people like Les Brown, Dr. Dennis Carroll, Dr. Gloria Banks, you all yourself, people that have really paved the way to share their successes and their failures of how they actually have created at the table, and that will be able to give access to people who might not have access to them, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to create that platform to highlight amazing people internationally, nationally, to share their stories and really their journeys of what they did and
hold that
their
thought.
Failures.
We are going, that is a perfect segue to our first break. We will be right back. You guys, create your seat at the table. Talk to us in the chat how you've done that. Call in. This would be a great show to call in, ask a question of our guests, 313-778-7600. We will be right back after this break. Thanks for listening to We Got Issues. right, we are back. We are back. We are back with our guest. We are back with our guest, Dr. Little. We are talking about creating your seat at the table. One of the your additional accolades, Dr. Little, is being a 15-time award-selling best-selling author of Dear Fear, 18 Powerful Lessons of Living Your Best Life Outside of Fear. Can you talk about, give us one or two of those lessons? How do you live your life outside of fear?
Absolutely. Just taking those risks. And in that collaboration book, my chapter was called Dear Fear You Can't Have Myself. I spoke about things, storms I had to face in corporate America as a Black woman at the table, right? In the different leadership positions. And so I spoke about that. I also spoke about, how you have to, step out there and, own the room and be, own who you're supposed to be in the room at the table. I also spoke about, losing my grandfather in 2011. I went through a period of depression for 3 years, and I talked about that, and nobody knew that, right? And sometimes you never know what people may be going through because they keep a smile on their face and they're continuing to work and they're getting it done, but they're really hurting inside. So I spoke about that in my chapter as well. So those are some in Dear Fear.
I love that. I love that, Gloria.
Yeah.
Gloria, creating your seat at the table. You could talk about it all day long.
I am so interested in this topic. I am so electrified by the fact that you are talking about that, because we talk about that so much. I'm so in tune with people who are strong enough not just to get to the table, but to make a difference for those because they're at the table. It's one thing to get to the table, but it takes a lot of courage to shake things up when you're at the table, because a lot of times when you're at the table, you have to make people make different decisions because you're at the table. Right. You have to look a different way because you're at the table. They can't ignore things because you're at the table. Even if you don't say anything, just the fact that you're at the table makes them look a different way, think a different way, and make some different decisions because they're at the table. So when you said, you walk in the room and you own the room, and when we listen to those accolades, Dr. Ashley, you're talking about sitting there with people that many people get intimidated by because of what they've done. So what is the advice that you give to people that makes them want to go after the idea? Because when you open different businesses like you're doing, there's an idea, and instead of shutting down the idea, instead of saying, I don't have time for the idea, instead of saying, I don't know how to do the idea, you take that idea and you go with that idea. And I love the fact that you said that you deal with coaches that are 30 steps ahead of you. But if you had to say, number 1, 2, 3, when you talk to different people and they got to the table to make a difference at the table, what is it that you have found that they do that really allows them to make a difference once they're at the table? What are they doing that makes a difference at the table?
The first, believing in your who you are, right? And not, making yourself little and not playing, shrinking yourself at the table. Number 2, bringing value. How are you bringing value to that table, right? They are, you have to make sure that you're coming with something. And so that would be number 2. And number 3 is just making sure that when you at the table, as you stated before, you're able to stay there. You're doing the work, right? So your work, your whatever you're saying should reflect in those results that you're bringing on those results. So that would be my top 3.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Sabrina.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Little. Now you're living in Nashville right now. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How did you end up? Where are you from originally, and how did you end up in Nashville?
I am originally from North Carolina. I'm a small town in North Carolina, Wadesboro, North Carolina. And I actually ended up here through a promotion with my company. So that's how I ended up in Nashville.
Wow.
I've been here about 4 years.
4 years. How do you like Nashville? I went to Tennessee State undergrad, so it's near and dear to my heart. It's changed tremendously. Yeah.
Yes. And Nashville is definitely growing. 100 people move here a day. And I will say this, the diversity of Black excellence has definitely grew. When I first got here, I saw that it was more opportunity, but as I continue to stay here and we've grown, I need more of us versus that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, talk to us a little bit, Dr. Little, about your beginning. You've done a lot in a little bit of time, like Caterina said earlier, but you had to grow through some things to get to where you are. When things have not always been yes, 100%, how did you stay in your lane, not look to the left, not look to the right, but continue to go after the things that you want in life? Because in this big old world, you can easily get swallowed up by disappointment and defeat.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to say this. I never gave up. Of course, we all go through and learn our lessons, right? We learn our lessons, but I was always persistent with it. And so just going through different things on the journey, learning different lessons, right? Hard lessons, as such as, being in corporate America in these different positions that I continue to grow up the ladder. And I'm at tables, as Dr. Banks said, with people who are older than me, people, I'm their boss who know you know more than me, right? But hey, I'm their boss, right? Learning those lessons and learning also that, hey, when you go through those lessons, that you persist and you stay consistent and you do the work, and it's part of the journey, right? Not say that I always enjoyed that process, because it was some hard lessons, right? But I had to understand that I had to endure those things to get where I am today. And I'm gonna tell you, when one thing that I went through at those tables is, discrimination, right? And I went through some seasons of that. And that's really what pushed me out into entrepreneurship, to want to own my own companies and build my own legacy. And so I took it as a positive. I'm going to take what I'm learning here at this table and I'm going to build my own multi-billion-dollar company,
That's right.
And so I took it as a positive, okay? It was some days that, hey, I did want to give up. But hey, I'm thankful to God, and I'm thankful to mentors and my coaches who were there, that's been where I am. And that's why I say to everybody that's listening, always invest in coaches and mentors who are 30 steps ahead of you, can really help you cut that curve, because I don't know if I probably would.
Dr. Ashley, first of all, let me thank you for joining us on today. You are a breath of fresh air. This is so good. Literally, I am rocking because your information is so good. It is just so good. So, somebody said, I think it was Omarosa that said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So that is so powerful, to be at the table. So you talked a lot about mentorship and being around people who are 30 steps ahead of you. And I know for many that can be a little daunting, that could be a little scary. How do you meet those people? How do you face your fear and get in the space of greatness, in the space of people doing at a higher level what you want to do? What would you tell people that say, I want a mentor, I really do? How do they go about getting those mentors?
I would definitely say build intentional relationships, right relationships, right? And go with a servant mentality. How can I serve them, right? They're already where you want to be. So how can I serve them? Because I really believe serving your way to the top is the key. So how can I serve them? And how can I bring value? How can I bring value to them? So that's how, my mentor, my coaches that I want to work with. And also I tell people, go where important people are at. They're not going to come to you. So go where they're at, right? And build those relationships. Like my mentors, one of my mentors, Bro Bedford, he always tells me, build that $1 billion network. And so that's what I do. I build those relationships and I make sure they're genuine, and then I'm always serving and I'm bringing value. I'm always looking for ways I can bring value.
This is so good. As I'm looking here, I want you to give some more practical tips as before we go to break, and as we come back on, how did you get to some of these tables? Speaker at DoorDash, virtual Black History Month, speaker at the Phoenix Jack and Jill HBCU, speaking at the press conference for the Mahalia Jackson movie. How have you gotten in those doors? And just talk about that. What are a few practical things? Is it just the networking events you go to, people you know? What does that look like?
Well, I'm going to say this, with my platform, I always say, if nobody's going to give you a seat, build your own platform. So I created my own platform and I started inviting the people I wanted to connect with to my show, to my table, right? That I wanted to connect with. And I thought about ways that I could help them and serve them. And I would invite them to interview or, attend conferences and invest in their brands, right? And I'll serve my way. I can't say it enough. I'm all about serving, because it's opened so many doors to me that a degree could not. Just building those intentional relationships. And then once I've built those relationships, then those connections have just sent me opportunities. Like right now, the relationships I built with Dr. Crisette White 3 years ago, now I'm at the table with Dr. Gloria Banks, Caterina Harris, Crisette, and Sabrina, you know, but those are all for genuine relationships. And she's also a writer in my magazine, you know? So it's just all about serving and just making sure you're genuine and making sure you bring a value.
I love that. I would love when we come back from the break, Dr. Ashley, for you to talk about some tangible things that you do to serve. What does that look like? What do you do?
That's good.
Is it just, you know, is it a thank you card? Is it remembering a birthday? What is it? You know, carrying a bag, all the above, what you need. So we are going to come back from a break in just a few minutes and continue this conversation. Everybody, there's a table for you and you want to create your seat there. We'll be right back. Okay. We are back. Thank you for tuning in to We Got Issues. We are keeping it hot today. I'm telling you, this is a hot conversation. And you talk about the power of girlfriends. We're talking about networking. We're talking about how to create your seat at the table. And I was just asking you, when you talked about serving, of course, we know that serving is about a heart position. So your heart has got to be in the right place. You can't fake the funk and just be there. I think people that are mature can see right through that. But what does that actually look like when you say you are serving? Give us some tangible examples of how you have added value that has helped you to get to the table.
Absolutely. Finding ways, number one, finding ways that I can assist, right? Depending on if it's a conference or whether it's a interview or just have a conversation, just finding ways that I can assist with what they're already doing. I'm already doing my research on who I want to connect with, right? And making sure I know what they have going on, and what's the highlights of what they're doing right now. Yes,
that's huge.
Yes.
That's huge. Yes.
Yeah. And I say this: if I have to serve word to get in the room, I will serve word to get in the room. You have to do what you have to do to get in the room. It's all about getting in the room, and also when you get there, make sure you stay there. But if I have to serve, do it, I will do it. Number two, asking to volunteer. Hey, I've done that plenty of times to get at the Power Network and many other conferences that those people, those important people that I want to connect with, that those where I want to be, I'm going to ask how I can volunteer and, get in the room. Number three, investing. You got to pay to play, right? You can't Google everything. Right. So investing, being able to invest in, their conferences, their events, to make sure that I'm there so I can, get the knowledge, right? Always remain a student is what I say, right? You never to high where you can't. And number four, follow up, sending those thank you cards, right? Reaching out within 72 hours, right? Reaching out within 72 hours and, making sure when you reach out that you're following up on something that you talk with them about, right? And it shouldn't be about you when you're having these conversations. It should be about them, right? It's not about you, it's about them and what they're doing and finding ways that I can help push forward whatever project they have now and how I can bring value to them and letting them know, hey, I see the book coming out. I'd love to invite you to my show to push and promote your book and figuring out ways that I can help them continue to be successful.
I mean, you said a lot. You said a lot right there. You said a lot. Sabrina, that is something you are so good at, keeping connections, and talk about how you do that. You just, if you know them, you're going to know them for life. I mean, that's just how it is. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's just important to write notes. I mean, and like Dr. Little talked about, following up and letting somebody know with a thank you card. That so many times it's such a turnoff. I'll meet somebody and all they do is talk about themselves. I mean, in the follow-up, they're just talking about themselves. And so I make sure that I want to be the opposite of that person. I want to always make that other person believe and feel like it's all about them. And so I think, Caterina, that question is just always investing time, energy, effort in the other person. That person sitting in front of you, making sure that you're really working hard to remember a name. I go to some networking events before COVID, and you can tell people are genuinely interested and not interested at all. I mean, they can barely finish talking to you and they're on to the next person. That is so rude. And so you've got to at least spend some time with the person, look them in the eye, finish the conversation, and then move on. People remember that. People remember when you have time, take time, make time. So I think that's really important.
And what you said about then how you pick up the conversation when you follow up, Dr. Ashley, you said you're kind of picking up the conversation from where you left it. I mean, that's really genuine. And so if that doesn't come naturally for you, I've learned I'm the person. I always said, Gloria, you're the person who can remember. I'm the person who has to take notes. Literally in my phone, when I put their information, I will put in the notes section a couple of things, orange boots or this or whatever, that just jogs my memory to remember, oh, that was the one I was talking to at the water cooler, because it's just how my brain works. And so it's important. Can you talk about speaking? Go ahead, Gloria.
I was going to bring up to both Dr. Ashley and Sabrina about how do you give value, let you know that you're going to lean into value without being very talkative about yourself. I think that's a balance. That's a part of people skills that people have to learn how to let them know this is what I can offer without just talking about myself all the time. And I think that two things happen. Number one, they don't do it, or they don't think the value that they have is important enough. And so they don't know that what they have is important enough. So they don't ever get to the table because no one knows what they have to offer. But they have to let people know how to offer it without offending. Like, Sabrina, can you go back to that point? Because, you know, you're the kind of person, Sabrina, you're looking to find out what that person has to value. But not everybody is that interested in someone else. So how does someone do that to you without offending you?
Yeah, Gloria, that's a very good question and an interesting point. Because I do genuinely like people and journalism is my background, I am an investigative thinker. I'm always probing, looking for, so I have become a great asker of questions. And many times those questions that I ask are open-ended, and they're going to find out about me because of the questions that I ask. But I wanted to sometimes be their idea to find out about me instead of me just giving them everything, you know, at once about me. Let them ask those questions. So I think it's important to spend time to get to know to get to know how to ask the right questions, how to ask the right questions. I mean, really, I mean, I just in a quick Starbucks line, you can find out where a woman works, how many kids she has, what school district they're in, where they live, all of that. And I tell this story all the time because my husband, can be in Starbucks for 4 hours, and I'll be like, well, where does he work? Where does she work? I don't know. Where does she live? I don't know. And I'm like, well, what? So
but that's bringing up a good point. You've become knowing that the art of asking questions is a technique that you use both ways. You pull out who they are, and you give them an opportunity to pull out who you are through the questions back and forth. That's an interesting technique. Dr. Ashley, what do you tell people? How do they shine their value in that room where when you go into volunteer, I'm volunteering, but I need you to know me, like Crisette says. I need you to know me. I need you to know all about me. What technique do you have?
I'm gonna say the same thing. I definitely ask questions, right? And I'm always doing research on something that they're already doing. So I'm gonna say this: during the pandemic, Clubhouse was an amazing platform to connect with people that you could never probably reach when the doors were open. Every time, I'm gonna say this, Dr. Bates, I was a stalker of yours. Every time she would go in the room, I would come in there, okay? And I would take notes. Okay? I would take notes. And I would do that for people like Dr. Frazier, just different people. And I would take notes. And when I go talk to those types of people in their DMs, because people were answering their DMs more then, you know, it was a great connection for people who did not use that. It was great, you know, networking. And so I would go in the DMs and, you know,
do you still do Clubhouse?
And then have those conversations, you know, from the DM to the email, and then get on phone calls. And then I would ask my questions, you know, things I've heard in the room, and then start asking me questions. And it just worked there. But I was definitely taking those notes, and when I would see those rooms open, I was there. The Clubhouse is a great platform, and I'm telling you, in 2020, it has connected me with so many amazing people that you probably would never be able to talk to if those doors were open.
Wow.
Are you still doing Clubhouse? Are you still doing Clubhouse?
Yes, I have a club in there as well. So I grew my club. And then sometimes, Dr. Bates, you did come in my room a couple times. So I was excited to see you. So I'm looking for ways that I can connect with the people, you know, so I'm going to go with there.
Very interesting. Awesome.
Dr. Little, I have a question. I think in your bio, Caterina wrote, I mean, you've written several books. And one of the books you talk about fear. And I think fear is a subject that so many people can relate to. Fear is that thing that will stop you dead in your tracks. It will prevent you from being all that God intended you to be. So talk to us a little bit about fear and how to overcome it.
Absolutely. You know, fear can definitely paralyze you if you let it, right? And so what I've learned from fear is you got to just do it anyway, right? Do it scared, step out there, be vulnerable, put yourself out there, and that it does not have to be perfect. And I think a lot of people think it has to be perfect, start a business, to write a book. But no, just get out there and do it, and you learn along the way. So that's how I do it. It's a lot of things that I'm scared to do, probably. Now I'm going to do it anyway. You're not going to know it, right? I'm just going to take that risk, and I'm going to land, right? And if I don't win, hey, I'm going to learn from the lesson, and I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to be persistent, and I'm going to try again. And so that's just the mentality that I take when I'm reaching out to people, when I'm building relationships. I had some people that didn't respond the first 2 times, but I was persistent, right? Hey, persistence is key. Sometimes, hey, are they consistent? Your consistency and your follow-up, all of that would tell who you are. And sometimes I know people made it harder because, hey, nobody gave it to them. I don't expect anybody to give it to me. So I look at fear, do it and figure it.
That is so good. That is so good. You are preaching today. I want to talk, we're getting ready to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk about public speaking. This is, you speaking of fear, so many people afraid of public speaking. Have you always been, did it come naturally for you? How did you, because to get to TEDx, your speaking skills have got to be on fleek. How did you work on improving your speaking skills, and what advice can you give to our audience? So we will be right back for this final segment with Dr. Ashley Little. Thanks for listening in to We Got Issues. You still have a moment to call in 313-778-7600. We'll be right back.
Down.
Yes. Life is what you make it. We gonna make it what we make it. Okay. The more I listen to that song, I'm like, it's got everything we need in it. Red bottoms and make your life work. Okay. What every woman needs. Dr. Ashley. Oh my gosh, I wrote down a couple questions, but I want you, before you answer the question about public speaking, I want you to tell them how to follow you. How do we follow you? How do we stay connected with Dr. Ashley Little?
Yes, you all can follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little, on Instagram at _ Dr. Ashley, whatever. LinkedIn, Dr. Ashley Little, and you all can go to my website.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, talk to us about public speaking. We all want to get better at public speaking. So how have you worked on perfecting that craft, and what advice would you give?
Well, I was always speaking and talking. I think I was just that came with it. But I definitely invested in speaker coaches and training. So the top speakers, I wanted to be in those rooms, right? So I would go to Dr. Will Moreland's speaker trainings or Dr. Cheryl Wood's speaker trainings, and get in there and get the knowledge, soak up those knowledge. Because I believe in investing in what you want to do to be good at it, right? Also, interviewing on different platforms, that's practice. That's practice as well, speaking. And then your own platform, and I'm inviting people to interview them. I'm getting practice there. I'm still speaking, right? And so, and then at the last but not least, just doing it. It's getting out there doing it, right? Now I'm going to say this. All the time that I'm speaking, I'm not going to say I'm always, in there all confident, right? Sometimes I am scared, right? But I remember who I am when I go in there, and it just comes natural. But I will say this, just investing in, speaker trainings and coaches that are where you want to be and that on it, right? I'm all about that.
Dr. Little, how do you remind yourself who you are? That's an exercise all by itself. What is your method to reminding yourself of who you are?
Hey, I do my affirmations every day, right? It's all about how you speak to yourself. And you know what, Dr. Baines, I attended one of her I was on Facebook Live, and she's talking about how you talk to yourself, right? And so I always did affirmations, but just listening to her, I just wrote those things. That is how you talk to yourself. You speak and you manifest what you want to do. And you go into those rooms, you know who you are. And so I'm going to say that's exactly how I do it every day. Okay. I'm the not to tell. Okay. I am the business owner. I am the table. I deserve to be at the table. I deserve to be here. Right. I'm always going to remain a student. Right. I know I don't know everything. And so just, talking to yourself and what you're saying to yourself really matters, and it changes your day. But Dr. Banks, I definitely attend that Facebook Live that you had last year. You're talking about how you talk to yourself.
Wow. That's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ashley, I have a question when it comes to
Chris, you're muted.
Chris, we can't hear you.
I was saying, I'm sorry. I had a question when it comes to public speaking. I've had several friends of mine that have attended Toastmasters. Do you know anything about Toastmasters or how that works? I was talking to my sister about it. I said, we should go and join a Toastmasters just to, see what it's about and improve on our public speaking.
Yes, I haven't done a Toastmasters, but I have heard of it, right? But I have not one. No, I have not.
Okay.
So many different ways to work on and get good. I would say for me, it is finding your cadence, finding your method. Some people are funny. Some people aren't. Some people, walk and talk. Gloria is a walker and talker. Some people like to stand behind a podium. Finding your method and being comfortable is Sabrina's tagline, own your power. Learning to do that is so important, but it starts out, get comfortable in front of 6 people, and then you grow, and one day you find yourself speaking in front of 6,000, right? And so it is something that anyone who is a speaker knows you are continuing to work on it. Gloria, how have you worked on? We have watched your speaking go another level. How have you worked on it?
You know, I love what you said in terms of the talking to yourself, but I will tell you the best advice I got for speaking came from Les Brown long time ago when he said, speak as often as you can. Every time you get an opportunity, get to the mic and speak. If you don't know what you're talking about, hold the mic, because something from your experience will come forward if you just take the mic. And you know, these days with Facebook Live and all that kind of stuff, there's so many times that people can lean in and get better and better and better. And most people run from the opportunity when the opportunity is in front of you all the time. And so I see people talking and I see people use it. But, you know, when you want to be someone and you're believing that there's a level of influence that you can create for other people, the best way to do it is your voice, because that's the most unique thing that you have is your voice. Even if you're saying the same thing that someone else has said, it sounds totally different when you mix it with your voice and you mix it with your particular experience. No one has lived your experience. You know, go back to that place where you said, Dr. Ashley Little, you said your grandfather died and you went through 3 years of depression and no one knew that it was going on except you and those you told. But the piece that I love about that is that you know that you now tell the story and it releases the transparency, and in giving forth that transparency of going through that depression and being truthful about it gives strength to other people who have gone through maybe not that, but have gone through something, to know that everybody is going through something. Like everybody is going through something. And we heard this speaker talk all the time. She said, you're either in the middle of it, you just finished it, or you're getting ready to go through it. So, you know, but holding on to that seat at the table is critical. Speaking is just doing it over and over again. I would say, Caterina, that's what I would say.
This is so good. This is so good. I love the last question you asked me on your show yesterday, which was, what is your next? What is the future? What does the next year look like for you? You know, as we are in December, everyone is thinking about what does 2022 look like, especially coming off of 2020 and 2021. So what's next for you, Dr. Ashley?
You know, building more partnerships. My goal is to build more partnerships next year. Definitely continue to grow. I'm working on, I have a company called the HBCU Experience Movement, where I'm with HBCUs creating partnerships and endowments and sharing our stories to increase alumni giving and HBCU enrollment. And so we're the first company to ever do it. And so I'm continuing to build more partnerships with our HBCUs to be able to change that narrative of sharing our stories and documenting them, but also giving back so we can keep our schools open. So that's a big thing that I'm really looking to continue to build next year and work on. And of course, you know, continuing to write more books and just speaking and traveling. Those are some things that I have up my sleeve for next year.
We're looking forward to traveling, and we hope that you will travel with us. This girlfriend's trip, you are officially a part of the tribe. This was one of the easiest conversations. Excited to get to know you even more and watch you go to another level. We wish you the best. And so thank you for listening, our audience. We hope that this has inspired you to create your seat at the table, and just, you know, you deserve to be there. And so we are so grateful. Tomorrow will be another awesome show. So make sure you tune in. We can't wait to have you there, and we will see you on Friday tomorrow. Thanks for listening to We Got Issues. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes.